Hello, Virgo. Welcome or welcome back to my Body and Heart Tarot Therapy. I'm here to do the reading for the month of April 2020. I hope you are well, Virgo. I hope you're enjoying your time at home, if that's the case for you, or whatever your situation is. I hope you're making the best out of it one way or another. Right, so let's see what's going on with you, Virgo. This is an intense time for everyone. This is a general reading for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. If it resonates, it resonates, and if it doesn't, it's just not your reading. Check out also the other signs that Leo, or sorry, I don't know why I said Leo. Like, what is your Sun, Moon, or Rising? If Virgo is your Sun, for example, check out what's your Moon or Rising videos, because sometimes it can really help to bring a bigger picture. And also depends where you find yourself in your process right now. If you're, for example, very focused within and you spend a lot of time alone, the moon reading may be very much more, say, intimate to you, to feel like you can relate more. Yeah, depends a lot. If you find yourself in a group, maybe that is not necessarily the most intimate people in your life. Maybe you find your rising to make more sense, or all of them, they just show different aspects of yourself, right? All right, Virgo, let's see what's going on with you this month of April. So okay, so we have the Magician and the Six of Pentacles as your current energy. Not bad at all. These ones flip, but they don't really fall. So a lot there. Let's see what's coming up though as your challenge. See. Okay, Four of Swords is a challenge. This had been coming out as a challenge for at least 3 readings, if I recall correctly, maybe even 4. It's actually having our mind calm and relax and being, in a meditative space and taking that break from the stories and all that. And it is challenging for everyone to do this right now. I can completely understand and relate to a certain degree. Now let's see what's your focus. Queen of Pentacles is your focus. She also came out a lot, and it makes sense. She's the homemaker. She's a nurturing mother. She's very practical. She loves her chores and things like that. Now let's see what's your advice, my dear Virgo. Five of Swords is advice. Interesting. Huh. All right. And future energy. Okay, both of you. You got a lot of extra cards. Queen of Wands and the Lovers as the future energy. Now that's very interesting. All right, and you have the Knight of Cups as the underlying energy. This is the theme of your reading. Kind of it's pretty much what you're working with in this month of April. What's like the major theme showing up? Knight of Cups. Beautiful. I'm putting out the clarifiers. Knight of Cups is it's about having your heart open, and it's about being able to offer more of yourself. You have the Four of Wands along with the Magician and the Six of Pentacles as your current energy. That's the Four of Swords here. Okay, Four of Swords with the Eight of Wands as your challenge. Had to show up. Ten of Swords with the Queen of Pentacles as your focus. All right. Just the Five of Swords here is your advice. The Tower with the Five of Swords is your advice. And the Star with the Queen of Wands and the Lovers as your future energy. And bottom of the deck, you have the Judgment. The Judgment. With the Knight of Cups as the theme of your reading. Alright, so what I'm getting for this reading is there's a major change in the way you put yourself out there. In whatever context you find yourself in. Like say, for example, that you're in a lockdown at home with family or for a group of people, or maybe just another one person, since there's the lover is present here. And I see from here that you probably used to be the one that's always balancing things out, though the one that's always been more open-hearted, the one that's been offering a lot of time, wisdom, and things like that. And I think that something is calling you this month to change the way you put yourself out there. What is it that you're offering and how? Judgment talks about major change. It's something that's it's something that's karmic. It's important for your soul journey to go through this experience. See, these people are basically coming out of the graves. Sorry, sometimes I'm struggling with pronunciation. That annoys me. Yes, so you see that there's this angel kind of blowing the trumpet over these people. That's the it's a wake up moment. It's a moment of waking up, when we realize that we've been in a trance for a long time. The life as we know it may be very well like a trance or like a dream that we're living, and in the moment when we die, well, it's all dramatic. We don't want to die. We are living creatures, preservation, sort of that type of story. But according to this whole cosmology of the tarot, actually, with the reincarnation and all, the soul journey, the evolution of consciousness, I don't know how you're looking at the tarot, but this is pretty much how the story is integrated. Like this is the mentality, not the mentality, but the model that tarot is adopting is very much connected with Buddhism and with many other maybe Indian cosmology, in which everybody, like you're a soul, you have your journey, you're living I don't know how many lifetimes, you die, you have another life, and in between lives there's those moments where we do this very serious assessment in which I'm like, okay, where am I at as evolution of consciousness? Here I am. What do I need to learn? Maybe I need to learn more about kindness and less about self-preservation. Maybe I've learned how to stand up for myself. Or maybe I've learned a lot about how to be kind. I've had this, 150,000 lifetimes in which I've learned step by step how to incorporate kindness at its best in my soul experience. What I need to learn as in my evolution of consciousness, maybe it's how to stand up for myself, how to be more assertive, how to be more whatever, whatever the journey. This is that kind of moment for you. It's not that you're dying. Don't worry, you're not gonna die. But it's that moment where you're starting to really assess, where am I at in my life? Where have I been? What have I done? What have been my main drivers? Is this irrelevant to me? How am I showing up? But that's the thing. It's very much related with the way you're showing up, the way you share of yourself, the way you share your heart, the way you share love, the way you connect to people. The Knight of Cups is somebody who's going out there, who wants to expand his emotional realm, who wants to have the emotional experience. And he's kind of willing to share that romantic story and idea with pretty much anyone who's willing to listen. Sometimes, it can be a little bit insecure and having not feeling comfortable without a romantic partner, always having to relate to someone outside of himself in order to have his story straight, and looking maybe for love and the love story and the validation. That's pretty much the archetype of the Knight of Cups. So these two together telling me that something's changing in this direction. Whoa, how you're relating in love, especially, but not just romantic love, with love as we're, I don't know, family. We're living together. We're obviously caring for each other. Maybe we're not living together. Maybe you're stuck together now. Maybe, I don't know, even if you're virtually dealing with your family, you're obviously going to deal with your family in this period. If you have one. If you don't have a family, then those that are closest to you as soul family, say, friends, people you have to connect it with. In how are you showing of yourself? Are you going to be like, putting your heart on your sleeve and setting yourself up for failure every time somebody's like saying something about you that you don't like, and say like, oh my god, I'm being rejected, or I don't know why that show came up right now. That's not necessarily what the story is about, but yeah. How are you showing up? Let's move on into this story, not just generalizing. All right, so we have the Magician, the Six of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands as your current energy. Yeah, I think that this reading is mainly for those that are relating with at least one other person, maybe in the same space, maybe in a different space, but there's somebody that you going back and forth with. It might be at home, because the fourth wands is about home, and it's about the structure of the home, the safety of the home. But it's the four of wands also talks about simply being able to come back home within yourself and recognize yourself and being recognized by others. You can talk, of course, of being recognized by family and things like that, feeling supported and connected with that. But not only, it can be recognizing yourself and maybe being recognized by others as well. But I think it's that moment of self-validation. The Six of what's this? Pentacles. Six of Pentacles talks about kindness, talks about sharing, talks about giving, but it's not just like you have to give, you have to be this amazing, kind person that gives to the others. It's more about evaluating also, where am I at? How much am I giving and how much am I taking? And this is another indication of this Knight of Cups, of the Judgment. I think something's changing here. I understand from this reading, from what I see so far, that you tend to be the giver. And maybe you had enough on your table, that you had the scale here. You understand that maybe you came from a place where you had enough in terms of I don't know, maybe a stability. Maybe you had a healthy growing up environment, so you were able to hold space for yourself, and you felt maybe as you, I don't know, as you meet other people that are maybe not so fortunate, maybe feel a little bit of responsibility to be the one that always gives and shares and so on. And I'm saying this because also there's the Magician here, having everything on the table in order for him to create the reality that he wants to create. And it's beautiful. I mean, like having to coming out from this space of kindness, coming up from this space of giving, of sharing. It is really, really beautiful. Yet, some people may start taking advantage of that. Or we can get like caught up in this persona of, oh yeah, I'm the one that has my shit together. Oh yeah, I'm the one that always is giving and holding space and taking care of others. And I need to fulfill this role all the time. In my home, in my work environment, whatever your environment, what is the environment that you're relating with, your relationship. I keep seeing this, like, yeah, it's not just that. To yeah, it's not only relationships and these two here. I mean, like, not only romantic relationships. So yeah, check out if you're caught in a persona, if you're doing compulsively only because you feel that it's a responsibility, or are you also taking care of yourself here? And this may be the deep lesson that you're learning this month. The Four of Swords with the Eight of Wands as your challenge. As I said when I started this, we all have, most of us have this challenge right now, keeping quiet mind, being present, taking that break from anything, from technology, from news, from whatever keeps your mind looping. And it's challenging right now to stay within and just be, to, without like feeling guilty about it, without wanting to finish I don't know how many courses, without having to figure out life, the universe and everything, without having to want to figure out relationships forever and ever and ever and never have an issue again. Sometimes we feel like, okay, either this is crazy, what's going on, I can't stand being at home and not doing anything, or I can't stand being with my whole family, or whatever, all that. But it can also be like, okay, I see this as an opportunity to, I don't know, give myself what I need: space, time, self-care, things like that. Unless you're like working like crazy, that could also be the case. But sometimes we can put that much pressure on us, like, okay, yeah, no, I need to learn I don't know how many new languages, and I need to do this and I need to do that. And it's important to see, where is that coming from? Is that, again, a role that you had to play all the time? Is like, okay, you can't relax and you can't just be right now, you can't be present with yourself and be really grounded, because you were always pushed to achieve, you were always pushed to I don't know, prove yourself somehow. Can you give yourself the time to really mindfully spend the days? If that's the case, you mindfully relate to other people, to mindfully relate to yourself, to give yourself meditation time, give yourself time for really relaxing somehow. Give yourself the bath. I don't know, massage your feet. Take care of your body, rather than getting stuck in the mind story and the compulsive stories. Now, with the Eight of Wands, I feel like you may be getting a lot of I don't know, like, insights and information that's more like a download, not something that you're necessarily thinking out loud with your mind or things like that. Eight of Wands, yeah, it's very fast moving energy, and sometimes has to do with a lot of information that we're catching from our inner wisdom, from our higher self, from spirit, from whatever you want to call that. And And it's maybe challenging for you right now because it's difficult. Your mind is obviously not quiet, otherwise you wouldn't have this as a challenge. And receiving all this information and taking it in from a place of fear, you may actually feel destabilized and ungrounded. It's hard to make sense out of it. And it may lead to disregarding that information or not really knowing how to use it, how to apply it in your life. We'll get to this. This is like challenging for you at a very personal level. It is challenging to keep your mind quiet, and it's challenging to make sense of all these messages that you're getting, the messages that you're getting from the divine or from however you relate with spirit. You also have the magician, so there's knowledge here. There's knowledge, like universal knowledge. I think you're accessing some type of information that wasn't available to you before. Maybe Akashic records, stuff like that. Depends, of course, a lot on your belief system. And the Eight of Wands also talks about, like, okay, all this information is coming in, but wands have to do with passion, with creativity, with belief systems, and things like this. So check that out. Queen of Pentacles and the Ten of Swords as your focus. Your focus needs to be on what is important to you right now. Or maybe it is there. But also what's ending. The world is not ending. Just the life as we know it, as we knew it so far, is undergoing some changes. I don't know how dramatic they're going to be. We can all get stuck in trying to figure it all out. What's this gonna lead to? Is it gonna lead to this? Is this gonna lead to that? Making prophecies of the future of how fucked up this is gonna get, or how this is gonna go back to normal, whatever normal is, and so on. So focusing on really what is important to you right now, your values, focusing on your chores, focusing on day-to-day reality, very practical, very physical. How am I waking up in the morning? How am I maybe give myself some space to do some meditation, even though it's challenging for you right now. Sitting with what's important, then I don't know, cleaning up my environment, eating healthy food, connecting with my body in this sense, and being careful of compulsions and things like this. And with Ten of Swords, like, yeah, allow the parts of you that feel like, there's a grief that's going on when we lose many things in our lives, whether we lose people, whether we lose connection, whether we lose jobs, whether we lose the reality as we knew it, or how our concept of the reality at the time. It's gone, obviously. Now everything needs to change one way or another, and it is changing. We're undergoing like changes unprecedented, probably in time of peace. I think it's good to look at what's ending and allowing it to end, being present with this. Don't like, if you are staying in your body and if you are being present with your daily reality, I think that these endings are coming naturally, and you're able to be to let it be, to just let it be. Of course, there's resistance coming up with the Ten of Swords. There's always resistance, but it's always good. A Ten of Swords means that there's finally like a process of the mind a story that you've been telling yourself that's coming to an end, and more clarity comes through because it's the Ace of Swords coming afterwards. Okay, so your your advice, and I think this is where this connects very much with this and with this, with like how you're showing up a lot, how are you putting yourself out there, how are you always a giver, how are you using your energy with other people, and what is the inherent role that you used to play. Having the Five of Swords and the Tower as your advice, I think you're being advised to rock the whether is the expression rock the boat a little bit. It's okay to stand up for yourself. It's okay to engage in conflict when conflict is necessary. Many times we have to do things that we are not 100% proud of in order to take care of ourselves and in order to not engage in further dynamics that are hurtful on long run. Let's say, for example, that maybe you've been in a relationship that was okay-ish but not great for a long time or a while now, and then I don't know, quarantine started and you're stuck with this person and you're like, yeah, maybe I've been on the giving side, maybe I've been projecting this love story that and expectations and hopes that this is all so romantic. Maybe you're seeing that the other person isn't as present as you hope they are, or maybe that this strategy of being nice and kind, because it's actually a survival strategy as well, it's not just because you're a wonderful person. We are all wonderful people actually deep down inside, and our actions obviously are very important, and it's amazing that you can be nice and kind and you can be present, you can be open. But sometimes playing that role of always being the kind one is not what is needed right now. Maybe sometimes it's exactly this what you needed. Stand up for yourself, be a little bit sharper with your communication, cut the crap when it comes out, when you see excuses or when you see the other person not engaging. Instead of like lying to yourself and creating this a romantic idea of how is that, I don't know, how fitting in a story or another, or like trying to avoid conflict because you don't like conflict. Maybe it's important to, yeah, rock it off a little bit, allow for the conflict to happen. It may be very helpful to bring resolution for to unstuck the energy and to move into the Six of Swords, which is like moving on either from a way of thinking, either from a situation or a type of dynamics. So unless confrontation happens, there is sometimes nothing that can be done. And that confrontation seems to be needed right now, provided that you are allowing yourself to be present with it. You know what's important, you know what's important to you, you know that your value does not stay in the validation that you get in the other person or in the fulfilling of this ideal of the romantic story. And that may like feel uncomfortable for everybody involved, having one of these like really tough moments of confrontation, but it may be very necessary, because always being just kind and always be the bigger person and always like it can also become arrogant, being arrogant to not want to engage in conflict because it's beneath me, or because I'm maybe just afraid of conflict because I'm having a type of avoidant personality. So look at the truth of it, of what's really going on. And it's, yeah, it's okay. You're not going to fall. Not really. It's the tower talks about shaking things up so that you open up for the star which is coming next, which is the healing. You can't get stuck into this very unnatural formation that you created in order to stay safe. Or maybe the other person, it feels like all fenced up and whatever, and you've been nice and kind, but there you see no actual progress or results. And what this can lead to, well, first of all, it leads to you being into your own power. The Queen of Wands is very, very powerful lady. I mean, you don't necessarily need to be a woman to get into this Queen of Wands energy. It's more about the energy, the attitude, the character. Somebody who's very connected with their inner intuition. Somebody who's very confident. Somebody who's owning their shit. And also in a rather nurturing way. She's a queen, so that means that she's driven by the heart. She's functioning like that's what drives her, the heart, the love, connection, kindness, nurturing. And so you're coming into your full power when you're letting go of the mask, when you're letting go of the fear, when you're letting go of whatever it is that you're avoiding and you're engaging with it as it is. Yeah, it may mean that the other person leaves, or it may mean that they're getting their mask off because they're like, okay, yeah, I can't get away with this, my avoidance strategy, whatever how they're avoiding. Maybe they're putting as I said, a cold wall that you can't penetrate, and you maybe want to connect deeper. You're like, okay, what's going on? Here I am, I'm offering my heart, and you're not really engaging. What's going on? And I think that this actually brings a lot of healing with the star. However this falls, however this unfolds, you will know your answer. You're coming back to yourself. This is what's most important. And you're coming back to being able to love from a healthy place, not from a codependent place, not from certain expectations, but being able to really, really see if the person in front of you, can you be with them or not, as they are. Yes, sometimes they fence up. Yes, they are not responding to your kindness. Maybe they had a really good reason. Can you be with that? Do you want to be with that? Can you negotiate some boundaries and some ways of working with it that is okay for both of you, not one of them having to play this role and one of them the other, and not always having that particular dynamics of who gives more and who gives less? Can you find that place of true love and connection, where it's mutual support, where there's where you feel able to really show yourself naked. You see that these people are naked here, both in the Judgment and in the Lovers. That means that, first of all, you are more open to divine messages. That's why you also have the angel here. There's the angel here too. Wow, there's the two angels. Now I just saw them. But also that you are allowing vulnerability. When I'm just trying to wear a mask, being kind, or the mask of being not kind enough, but I'm always like protecting a part of me that feels insecure, or it feels hurt, or it feels wounded, things like this. When I actually come from a really vulnerable place, and I check out Brené Brown, The Power of Vulnerability, this kind of stuff. It doesn't mean that, okay, here I am, I'm showing you my wound, and I expect you to heal my wound, and I expect you to never touch that point ever again because it's a taboo for me. It's not like this. It's more about, here I am, this is my shit, I'm owning my shit, I'm able to like sit with it, I am willing to engage myself with it, to work. I'm engaging into my own healing process, and you're doing the same. They're both allowing themselves to be seen as they are without having to keep an idea or a persona in front, like a delegate, to tell me this Ten of Swords that's dying here. To give the impression that I'm nicer than I am, or that I'm colder than I am, so I don't show what really hurts inside. So confrontation in this case is very important. It's necessary. Allow it and go with whatever shows up. Take that as your answer. If it's good, leads to breaking apart, then that was not for you. If it leads to strengthening your connection, then it leads to strengthening your connection. And don't be afraid of this Tower and this Five of Swords, because that's your advice. This is not something like your challenge or whatever. This is kind of what you will need to allow to do. And yeah, my hint is, like, my indication here is that it will lead to a stronger connection, right, with this person, whether it's romantic or not. But it can also just lead to your ability to love deeper and to love yourself, because it is really important for us to understand that we can only love others to the degree and ability that we have to love ourselves. And if you can only love yourself when you're nice and kind, then you need more work in that direction. You need to be able to accept and love yourself also when you're down, when you're feeling helpless, when you're feeling like you see this part of you that feels frustrated and wants to rock the boat. Have love for those parts of yourself too, and include them into your being. And then you're also able to accept other for wider, more naked part of them, not just the polished version that we all tend to show. Okay, let's see what Rumi says here. What's the oracle of the heart for you, my dear Virgo? The courage of your love. Well, will you look at that? The courage of your love. You need to have courage to confront somebody who's being unresponsive or avoidant or something like this. But yeah, let's read about this. Let's see what's this all about. These reads usually are really good. Hope you have patience for them. And sorry if I'm not reading great. I hope this you're able to get the wisdom of these cards. That's what's important. Okay, so the courage of your love. There's a poem from Rumi which says, love is without reason. Rationality is like a cane. Judgment needs a cane because it is blind. When love arrives, thought dies in its shadow. Love is the sunrise, while thought is only a flashing light. Okay, so basically it's don't get stuck in your mind. So there's a Sufi story about a mother with her breast licking milk. She loses her child, and once she finds him again, instantly lets him suckle for as long as he needs. A Sufi master nearby says to his students, do you think she would throw her baby into the fire? And the students all say, no, of course not. And the master replies, Allah loved his children more than she, with enough tenderness to throw them into the fire. So it is with love. At first, as young heart, you want only comfort for your beloved. You cannot bear the thought of pain within them, even for a moment. Your own suffering is easier than bearing the suffering of your beloved. That young heart grows wise through experience. It becomes an elder, an ancient heart, tempered by grace and rendered strong with compassion. This is the great heart that can hold the suffering of the world within it, and yet still find space for peace, for sweetness, for tenderness, and for rapture. This is the heart that shines with courageous love. It is willing to feel and bear all the suffering without judgment, whilst gently holding it in the truth of what suffering really is, the drying out of the mind addicted to suffering. This drying out is necessary so that love can ignite itself and transform dead wood into living fire. The drying out of is a challenging and enduring process. The path of freeing the heart from the effect of a fearful mind is an initiation into great power. So many lapses will happen before the heart grows strong enough to overpower old patterns and surrender without condition or equivocation. When it is ready to surrender in such a way, the heart is free and allowed to simply be. Even the mind, then, finally freed from the shackles and joyfully submitting to love, declares, Let love be, let love be in whatever way it shall be. I can bear it. I shall take refuge in it. I shall not turn away from it. I am that love. Okay, there's a lot going on here. This oracle comes with particular guidance for you. You are not to give in to less than what you are worth, or to the shaming stories of others of our culture that would cast your regal lion nature into the falsehood of beliefs that you have no choice or power. You are not to give in to the idea that you are a victim and cannot free yourself from your suffering, or that you are less than any other. These are lies. These are petty deceptions so unworthy of you. Do not believe them. Roar at them, roar, roar, like a lion, roar, roar. Roar at them until the weak glue holding them together melts under the fire of your holy breath, and they lie dismembered and powerless at your feet. Then intend that those bits and pieces in decay are lovingly returned to the Earth Mother, through whom they can be used to fertilize new life. This oracle comes with another message for you. You have a challenge before you, or that you are now moving through, but you have what is necessary to succeed and overcome it. No matter how long it has endured, how big you have built that challenge up to be in your mind, no matter how unsolvable the issue appears to be, there is and shall be a victory beyond it, and it is imminent. This oracle has come to you to let you know that you are empowered to succeed. You have what is required within you to do it, and that the time of your victory is drawing near. So don't give up. Instead, do the sacred honoring ritual as needed, and when you feel so inclined, open your mouth open your mouth and roar love from the very depths of your being. Create a sound of truth for yourself. In that sound, you will hear the mightiest one of all roaring along with you, saying, Yes, love, I am with you, and together we claim divine victory. So we roar. How we roar. Okay, so I don't usually read this, but I seem to be reading it more and more, but let's do it. The honoring ritual that was mentioned here says, Say aloud, I call on Rumi, Lion of Love, and my own wise higher self. I now choose to assert the dignity of my soul and the power of my heart. I release all lesser bonds based in fear and deception. I no longer need to hold on to this. I am ready for truth. With unconditional love, I am supported, protected, and guided on my path to victory, held in guardianship by the unending power of love. So be it. Well, my dear Virgo, I hope this makes sense to you. Like what I'm getting out of this is that you need to have the courage to assert your love, to offer your heart as it is without being afraid of rejection or without being afraid that things are not as you want them to be. There are challenges but you have everything that you need to overcome them, and that's what the magician says as well with all these things on the table. Call upon your higher self. You're getting your information that you need, your guidance, your personal guidance for your very personal situation. Don't give the mind don't feed the mind the stories of the fear, because you're going to be okay and you're getting into your power. So confront when needs to be confronted, but do so with love, knowing that you are love, knowing that if the other person that you're confronting here is not what you want them to be, question yourself, do I really see them for who they are, or who is it that I'm loving here? And maybe you allow yourself to see them as they are as well. Okay, my love, I hope this makes sense to you. So if you resonated with this reading, please like, share, and subscribe so that more people can actually access these readings whenever they need them. And may our practice benefit all beings. Hope you're well.